Now, the Azimio la Umoja coalition has pulled out of the proposed bipartisan talks, accusing their colleagues in Kenya Kwanza of not showing commitment to the public discourse. Raila Odinga and his allies say that instances on the parliamentary process goes against the spirit of transparency. Azimio now wants the talks to be held outside of parliament, and that Kenya Kwanza must demonstrate the willingness to engage on issues bedeviling the country. Here's that report.
Raila Odinga and his allies have upped the ante in the push for a holistic approach to the proposed bipartisan dialogue. Days after announcing the resumption of mass protests, Azimio has withdrawn its participation from the talks altogether.
We have insisted on an extra-parliamentary process in view of the strictures of debate in Parliament. We will therefore not participate in any such parliamentary process. B, the motion is disguised as a product of bipartisanship, when in fact the leadership of Azimio and Parliament were neither aware nor consulted in its drafting.
Azimio says Kenya Kwanza has shrouded the talks in so much mystery that the opposition has found it impossible to engage going forward.
The delay in naming his team is another sign of a lack of seriousness that has been made once by the inclusion of members of the Azimio coalition in his team, when the whole country knows that respect for multi-party democracy is one of the key issues we have put on the table. Number 3, to date, Kenya Kwanza has failed to name the leadership of his team as a way of stonewalling.
On Tuesday, the leader of Minority Party in the National Assembly declined to submit the list of their 7 members to the Speaker, arguing that the Kenya Kwanza government had not demonstrated the political will to engage in the talks.
First and foremost, I must admit that I was taken aback when I read in the media that a motion had been forwarded to the Speaker's office about this bipartisan engagement, because that couldn't have been a motion about bipartisan engagement, for the simple reason that my coalition was never consulted. It has now turned out, of course, that it was basically a draft motion for the Kenya Kwanza side.
Indeed, by the time the Honorable Leader of Minority retreats to his office, he will find a letter on his desk asking that hopefully before the end of this week, we have a forum which I do pray that Parliament will be able to facilitate. Hopefully with the Leader of Minority in the National Assembly, the Leader of Minority in the Senate, the Leader of Majority in the Senate, and the proposed co-chairs that have been proposed by both coalitions, to be able to sit now and harmonize whatever issues that will be up for deliberation.
Senate Speaker Amason Kingi on Tuesday confirmed to have received the draft motions from both parties that are meant to set the stage for the bipartisan talks.
The draft notice of motion also states the terms of reference of the proposed Joint Select Committee. Honourable Senators, in view of the importance of this matter, I have consulted the Speaker of the National Assembly on a common procedure by Parliament establishing the proposed Joint Select Committee. Honourable Senators, this being a bipartisan matter, I have instructed the Clerk of the Senate to forward the draft notice of motion to the Senate Minority Leader for his consideration and necessary action.
Azimio is however adamant that the planned demos shall proceed unless the government stops the ongoing monkey wrench.